The house exhales its familiar sigh as I settle into the leather recliner, its worn arms cradling me like a childhood memory. Mom and Dad's voices still echo faintly from the driveway. Weekend getaway, back Sunday night, and leftovers in the fridge. At 28, I should feel ridiculous seeking refuge in my childhood home. But the weight of recent months presses against my chest like a stone. The promotion that never came, the relationship that withered, the apartment that feels more like a cell than sanctuary. Here, surrounded by faded family photos and the persistent tick of the grandfather clock, I can breathe again. The November rain patters against the bay window, each droplet catching the amber glow of the street lamp. Our suburban street stretches empty in both directions, porch lights creating pools of warmth in the gathering dusk. The Hendersons' house sits dark. Florida again, Mom mentioned. The Kowalskis retired to Arizona last spring. One by one, the neighborhood empties, leaving gaps like missing teeth in a familiar smile. I pour myself a glass of Dad's whiskey and sink deeper into the chair. The house settles around me with its catalog of sounds. The refrigerator's gentle hum, the furnace cycling on, the soft creak of settling joists. Each noise carries the weight of decades, a symphony of home that my apartment's thin walls could never replicate. The first anomaly arrives so subtly I almost miss it. The grandfather clock chimes 9, but something feels wrong about the sound. Too hollow, too prolonged. I count the strikes, 1, 2, 3, 9. Correct. Yet the echo seems to hang in the air longer than it should, as if the house itself is holding its breath. I shake my head, blame the whiskey. It's been a long week. From the kitchen comes a soft sound, the refrigerator door opening, that familiar suction release, followed by the gentle clink of glass bottles. I freeze, listening. The sound repeats. Door opening, pause, door closing. The compressor kicks in with unusual vigor. Hello? My voice fractures the silence. Mom? Dad? But their car pulled away hours ago. I heard the engine fade into the distance, watched their taillights disappear around the corner. The kitchen stands empty when I investigate, fluorescent light humming overhead. The refrigerator's surface bears the same collection of takeout menus and appointment cards, but something feels displaced. The family photo held by a magnet our last Christmas together sits slightly askew as if recently disturbed. I straighten it with trembling fingers. Back in the living room, I notice the whiskey glass has moved. Not far, perhaps 6 inches to the left on the side table, but I'm certain I placed it directly beside the lamp. The amber liquid catches the light differently now, casting shadows that seem to writhe and pulse. The rational mind constructs explanations. Old house settling, vibrations from passing traffic, my own imperfect memory. But beneath logic lurks something more primitive, a recognition that the familiar has become foreign. At 10:30, I climb the stairs to my old bedroom. Each step groans under my weight, but tonight the sounds feel different. Less like wood settling and more like whispered warnings. The hallway stretches before me, lined with family photos whose eyes seem to track my movement. My childhood bedroom remains frozen in time, band posters peeling at the corners, a desk cluttered with forgotten textbooks, a twin bed that once felt enormous. I change into old pajamas found in the dresser, their fabric soft with age and memory. Sleep comes fitfully. I wake to the sound of footsteps in the hallway, slow, deliberate, unfamiliar. The digital clock reads 2:47 a.m., its green glow casting everything in sickly hues. The footsteps pause outside my door and I hold my breath, waiting. The doorknob turns, but when I sit up, heart hammering, the door remains closed. The hallway beyond lies silent and dark. I press my ear to the wood, listening for any sound, but hear only the house's nocturnal symphony. When I finally return to bed, the pillow feels cold against my cheek, as if someone has been lying there in my absence. Morning brings no relief. The kitchen smells wrong. Not the familiar blend of coffee and old wood, but something else. Something organic and unpleasant, like flowers left too long in stagnant water. I search for the source, but find nothing obvious. The garbage disposal runs clean. The refrigerator holds only familiar items, yet the smell persists. I call Mom's cell phone, needing to hear a familiar voice. Having fun, sweetheart? Her voice crackles through poor reception. How's the house? Fine, I lie, just quiet. You always loved that house when you were little. Remember how you used to talk to your imaginary friend in the basement? The words hit like ice water. What imaginary friend? Oh, you don't remember? You were maybe 5 or 6. You'd spend hours down there, chattering away to someone you called the Gray Man. We thought it was adorable. The connection crackles and dies. I stare at the phone, Mom's words echoing in my mind. The Gray Man. The name carries weight, like a stone dropped into still water, ripples spreading outward into forgotten corners of memory. The basement door stands at the end of the kitchen, painted white but showing chips and scratches accumulated over decades. I haven't been down there since arriving yesterday. No reason to venture into that concrete tomb filled with Christmas decorations and forgotten furniture, but now the door seems to pulse with invitation. The stairs descend into familiar darkness, each step triggering motion sensor lights that flicker on in sequence. The basement unfolds before me. Concrete floor, exposed beams, the old furnace squatting like a metal beast in the corner. Everything appears normal, yet wrongness permeates the air like humidity. In the far corner, behind a stack of cardboard boxes, I discover something that stops my breath. A child's drawing, yellowed with age, tacked to the wooden support beam. Crayon figures dance across the paper. A small boy with brown hair, me, clearly. And beside him, a tall gray shape with 2 long arms and a face that's more suggestion than feature. At the bottom, in my childhood scrawl, me and the Gray Man. The paper crumbles at my touch, but the image burns itself into my memory. That gray figure, with its impossible proportions and empty smile, feels less like imagination and more like documentation. Something moves in my peripheral vision. I turn, but find only shadows cast by the hanging light bulb. Yet the sensation of being watched intensifies, as if the darkness itself has developed eyes. The air grows thick, oppressive, carrying that same organic smell from the kitchen. Footsteps echo overhead, slow, deliberate, and impossibly heavy for an empty house. I climb the stairs with forced calm, but the kitchen stands empty. The footsteps continue in the living room, then up the main staircase. I follow the sound, my own feet silent on the carpeted steps, but when I reach the second floor, silence reigns. The hallway stretches before me, unchanged yet somehow different. The family photos hang askew as if recently disturbed. The bathroom door stands ajar, revealing darkness beyond. From my childhood bedroom comes a sound that freezes my blood. The soft creak of bed springs, as if someone has just settled onto the mattress. I approach the door with trembling hands. The knob turns easily, revealing the room exactly as I left it. But the impression on the bedspread suggests recent occupation, and the air carries a chill that has nothing to do with November weather. On the desk, my old journal lies open to a page I don't remember writing. The words in my own handwriting read, "The Gray Man says he's been waiting. He says everyone leaves eventually, but he stays. He says he's lonely." Below that, in fresher ink, "He says I came back." I don't remember writing those words. The pen lies beside the journal, still warm to the touch. The house groans around me, settling into evening. Outside, streetlights flicker on, casting long shadows across the bedroom walls. In those shadows, shapes seem to move. Tall, elongated forms that shouldn't exist in the familiar geometry of home. My phone buzzes, a text from Mom. "Having trouble with reception. See you tomorrow. Love you." But the timestamp shows the message was sent 3 hours ago. I've been in the basement for minutes, not hours. The house breathes around me, exhaling memories and inhaling something else, something hungry. At midnight, I hear my name called from the basement. The voice is mine, but younger, a child's voice, bright with excitement and innocence. "Come play," it calls. "The Gray Man wants to see you." I know I shouldn't go. Every instinct screams against descending those stairs, but my feet move without conscious direction. The basement door stands open, though I'm certain I closed it. The motion sensor lights flicker on as I descend, but their glow seems dimmer now, struggling against a darkness that has weight and substance. At the bottom of the stairs, I see him. The Gray Man stands in the corner where I found the drawing, exactly as my childhood crayon had depicted him. Tall, impossibly thin, with arms that hang too long, and a face that's more absence than presence. His smile is the worst part. "You came back," he says. I waited. I try to speak, but my throat constricts. The air grows thick, pressing against my chest like water. The Gray Man takes a step forward, and I notice he casts no shadow despite the overhead light. "Everyone leaves," he continues, moving closer. "Your parents, your neighbors, everyone. But you came back. You remembered." The childhood memory floods back with devastating clarity. Hours spent in this basement, talking to the Gray Man, sharing secrets and fears with something that listened without judgment. He was my friend when friends were scarce, my confidant when the world above felt too large and frightening. But children grow up, they forget, they leave. "I was lonely," the Gray Man whispers, now close enough that I can feel the cold radiating from his form. "So very lonely, but you're here now. you can stay. His hand reaches toward me, fingers too long and joints bending in wrong directions. Where he touches my shoulder, ice spreads through my body, a cold that goes deeper than flesh and bone. Stay, he repeats, and his smile widens impossibly, and stay and keep me company, forever. The basement walls seem to pulse, breathing with the rhythm of some vast, hidden heart. The gray man's touch spreads numbness through my limbs, and I understand with terrible clarity that this is how it ends. Not with violence or struggle, but with the simple act of staying, of never leaving this house again. But something in me rebels. The part that grew up, that moved away, that built a life beyond these walls. With tremendous effort, I break free from his touch and stumble toward the stairs. "You can't leave," the gray man calls after me, his voice now carrying the weight of decades of solitude. "No one stays. Everyone leaves me alone." I climb the stairs on legs that feel like lead, each step a monumental effort. Behind me, the gray man's footsteps follow, slow and patient. He has waited 30 years. He can wait a little longer. In the kitchen, I grab my keys with shaking hands. The front door seems miles away, but I force myself toward it. The gray man's voice echoes through the house. "You'll be back. They always come back. The house remembers." I burst through the front door into the November night, gasping cold air that burns my lungs. My car starts on the first try, and I drive without destination, putting distance between myself and the house that no longer feels like home. But even as I drive, I know the gray man speaks truth. The house remembers. And somewhere in the depths of my childhood memories, a part of me remembers too. Remembers the comfort of having someone who would never leave, never judge, never abandon. The gray man waits, still patient as stone, in the basement of my childhood home. And despite everything, despite the terror and the wrongness, I know that someday, when the world becomes too much, when loneliness cuts too deep, I will return. Because everyone needs a friend who will never leave, even if that friend isn't quite human.